Hello, welcome to another edition of Medusa's Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Greg. Today we've got a lot on the plate. We've got two different chicken dishes that are very similar. And I'm making, one of my first shows was Alfredo pasta, and I wanted to show you how to make an Alfredo potato dish with fresh fennel and spinach. Spinach and fennel is like one of my favorite combinations, and I wanted to make an Alfredo that was gluten-free. So we're going to make a potato Alfredo with fennel and fresh spinach. So we got a lot to do today, so I'm just going to jump right in. First, I want to get my potatoes Alfredo going. I've already preheated a pan here because I want I want my cream to get warm right away. And I have 1 clove of garlic I just peeled, and I'm just smashing. And I'm going to put that in whole like that. This is my fennel. Cutting it in half. You don't have to take out the core because it's edible, but I like to. I guess it's just a force of habit, and take the little brown pieces off. Anyways, I tried this dish and I really love it. What you first want to do is get the cream and the fennel and the garlic going. And I cut the fennel basically the same size as my potatoes, which I've already diced half-ounce pieces, or half-inch pieces, and I put them into cold water. I set the pot on the stove, and as soon as the water almost came to a boil, they were ready. Now you can figure that a diced potato in cold water, but by the time the water gets hot enough to boil, you know that the potatoes are the same temperature. It just takes a little common sense for something like that. So anyways, we've got our fennel and our garlic going in our cream. I just give that a little mix. I'm going to put a little kosher salt in there. Even though we're using Parmesan cheese, I'm using a very good quality Parmesan cheese, and usually good quality Parmesan cheeses aren't very salty. I'm going to just check to see what I've got here for my cream. I've got 1 bulb of fennel here, and when I cooked the potatoes, I cooked 2 peeled potatoes, large. So we have our cream and our fennel hot. We've extracted the garlic flavor out of there. Now I'm going to add my potatoes. A little bit more cream. And I'm going to add my spinach at this point. I got fresh clipped and cleaned spinach, which I'm keeping in a nice tight bunch, just like I would chop parsley. And I'm doing a chiffonade of spinach. I'm going to set that right on top of my potatoes. And because I don't want that cream to reduce and evaporate, I'm going to throw a cover on it, set it off to the side while I get my other 2 pans ready for the chicken. Alright, I'm going to save this fennel for later. I get my board cleaned up so I can get ready for my chicken. Get a cover for my Alfredo that I've got cooking. That should be ready to thicken with the egg and the cheese, just like we do the pasta, in a matter of no time. I'll get this out of the way for now, and we'll get ready to do my chicken. I've got 8-ounce double lobe chicken breasts that I've bought skinned and fresh. If at all you can buy fresh chicken, that's the way to go, because anytime you freeze any meat, chicken, beef, fish, scallops, whatever, fish, crab, you change the structure of the protein and you lose more moisture. So we're going to do 8 pieces here. Dry my hands off here. And because I'm working on a board with plastic, that's why I don't have my yellow cutting board, because I'm not getting any chicken on anything besides the plastic. Now I have one of these really nice tenderizers. You don't have something like this, you can use a small saute pan, and you can use the heel of the pan to knock down the thickest part of the breast or the front, either way, whatever more comfortable. And then once you get it flat, then you can use the whole bottom of the pan, but you want to get about a 1/4 inch thickness because we're sauteing here. And sauteing is cooking quickly with a little bit of oil, as opposed to pan frying, which is cooking a little bit more towards a medium heat with a lot of oil. You know, usually when you're pan frying, it's kind of like French toast, you know, or potato pancakes. You know, you need some oil in the pan, so they're kind of like pan frying. But when you're doing items like veal piccata or shrimp diavola or chicken piccata or chicken francese, which we're making today, you want the chicken to be nice and thin because you want to be able to cook it quickly. So we're going to take these out, this plastic. Going to lightly salt them. I'm going to grind some fresh pepper right away. And we're going to sprinkle these with fresh pepper. I'm telling you, when you use fresh pepper as opposed to pepper that's bought from the store already ground, what a difference. I mean, it really makes a difference in the food that you cook for yourself or your family. You know, take the extra time to do that. All right, now, so for the chicken piccata, I've already got the pan here heating up. I can see that it's, and one of these is pan fried and one of these is sauteed. The one on the middle here is going to be the sauteed chicken. And I got myself some unseasoned flour here. Shake it off really well. We don't want excess flour in the pan because that'll burn and that'll give us that'll give us a burnt flavor. We don't want that. So whenever you dredge anything in flour that you're going to saute, just want to make sure you get, it looks like I'm a little bit light on oil, so I'll just add a little bit. Pan's nice and hot. And now if the chicken's a little bit too big for the pan, that's okay because it's going to shrink a little bit. Now, what we're going to do, you know, I did the chicken with my right hand, so my left hand I could still use. I have just straight eggs, no water, anything in it. And I'm going to add a little bit of cheese. And I'm going to mix that together, and it's going to be a cheesy egg mixture that I'm going to dip the egg into, and that's the Francese I'm pan frying, which I'm going to turn that down. Take a look at my Alfredo. Ooh, that's boiling nice. I'll give that a mix. Get that spinach down in there. That should be ready to go very soon. This is doing really nicely. I'll flour my chicken for the Francese. Just drag it through that cheesy egg mixture. Like so. Now I'm probably going to, it looks like I'm going to have to do that in 2 batches. But you want to make sure you get cheese on there. You can see the cheese in the egg there. And if you get a little dry spot like that, you can just tap a little egg on top of it. And wash my hand off right away here because it looks like the piccata chicken is ready to be flipped. We got a nice light brown on there. When we're cooking these chickens, we want to get them cooked like 90 of the way. We don't want the chicken to be, we want it to be pink at the most. We don't want it to be raw, because when we finish these sauces, we're finishing them with butter, and it'll break the sauce if we get it too hot and try to cook the chicken off. So, you know, in the restaurant when we're busy, you know, there's other ways that we could do this. You know, we could drain the oil off into my little drain pan here. So this is still, you know, I broke the thickest part of the breast. I popped it open and I can still see that it's raw, but there's really no color on that bottom side. You know, sometimes in the restaurant on a busy Saturday night, we would throw garlic and shallots, and we would do all the sauce making with the chicken still in the pan, which I'm going to do here. I'm going to put a little chopped garlic. I'm going to put a little chopped shallots. I'm going to add a little white wine. I'm going to add some lemon juice. You know how I feel about that. I like my lemon juice fresh. I love these little squeezers because they're efficient. You get the juice, you don't get the seeds. I'm putting the juice of 1 lemon in there. Okay, that's going to go in my composter. This Francese is doing nice. Next thing I'm adding to this veal piccata is a nice tablespoon of veal glass, something that you can make yourself, which I'll be doing a show on. But if you don't have the time to make a veal demi-glace, which takes about 4 or 5 days, you can buy veal glass in the store, usually the more high-end cooking stores where you can get specialty items, or they have a butcher shop. They usually carry veal glass. And all the veal that's raised now is pasture raised, so it's all grass-fed and treated humanely, not like it used to be in the past. So all that glass is, I'm getting ready for my piccata sauce. That's my dog, Vito. Okay, so once I get this chicken here, it's looking like our Alfredo is ready to be finished off. Or I'm going to add some cheese to this. My Francese. Look how beautiful that is. It's got that nice cheesy egg crust. I'm going to turn the heat down on my piccata so I can finish off my Alfredo. We're taking the egg white out, putting that right in the middle of our cheese. And remember how we did it before? We shake the pan and we stir with our right. And that egg and that cheese creates a nice sauce, and it comes together that quick. I mean, you saw how quickly that happened. So that's done. I'm going to turn the heat off and just let that sit. It looks like my chicken for the piccata is ready. So I'm going to get that on my platter so I can finish making the sauce. And I'm just going to set that to the side with a cover on it. I'm going to add some parsley. Hey Vito, settle down. It's my dog. And, oh Vito, come here. I got some chicken for you. So there, we'll get the other 2 pieces of chicken going. We're going to need a little more oil. Vito, come here. You're disrupting my cooking show, bro. He's my little purebred Maltese that I bought a couple years ago. He's been such a joy, but you know, anytime someone comes near the house, he gets excited. He's a good guard dog. So anyways, there's my chicken, my second batch of Francese. Rinse my hand off here. I got my, there's our piccata sauce. We need some capers for the chicken piccata. And I'll get a spoon here so I can see how things are coming along. You want to reduce this lemon, white wine, caper, parsley, garlic, shallot, veal demi-glace down to almost a syrup before you add butter. I guess while we're waiting for that, we're going to add the butter to the piccata, and I had the butter in a pot with ice. The butter has to be ice cold, and that's because we want the sauce to emulsify. But right now it's really hot, and when we add the cold butter, it's going to bring that temperature down so it won't break. You know, at the restaurant, people always used to ask, what's that white stuff he's throwing in the pan? It was butter. All right, so grab a fresh towel here, and we swirl that in. I've got the flame on medium-high. When the butter gets halfway melted, we're just going to turn the heat off, and we're going to let that go the rest of the way. Check it for seasoning. Little salt. Little fresh pepper. We'll get this butter out of the way. We don't need this flour anymore. I'm going to use this parsley on the next recipe. As you can see, the butter is almost melted. I'm going to turn the heat off now so I don't break the sauce. You need to watch your temperature. You can't let it get too cold. You can't let it get too hot. And as soon as it's melted and you've got it incorporated, then I'll pour the juice for the chicken in here. And I pour that over my chicken. And there's our chicken piccata. Turn the heat off so you can see what's going on there. It looks like my other 2 chicken breasts are ready to flip now. See that we got that nice crust on there. Always flip away from yourself. We're going to finish that. And we're also going to garnish the chicken piccata with a slice of lemon or 2. You know, you want to make your food look beautiful. So we'll move this out of the way, and we'll get potatoes au gratin. Oh, where are we? Here we are. Look how beautiful that is. The potatoes, it's got a nice texture. It's nice and creamy. I need to hit it with fresh pepper now. Those Francese chicken breasts in the egg coating are near being done. I just love my mortar and pestle. It's such a great piece of kitchen equipment. Now, whenever you sprinkle anything, paprika, seasonings on anything, you do it at a higher level so you get a nice sprinkle. You don't have those blotches. Now you can see how nice that came out. See? So that's the potato Alfredo with spinach and fresh fennel. You have to try this dish. It's just delicious. And you can do whatever you want with this. You can use arugula, you can use zucchini, you can throw cherry tomatoes in at the end. The possibilities are endless. And I'll be doing most of them. But I really encourage you to try this. I mean, and we got the beautiful chicken piccata here. We're going to take the look, see if our chicken is ready. Oh, that looks, yep. So we're going to get our platter. And my towel so I don't burn myself. I'm going to put the other 2 chicken breasts on here. A good friend of mine, Johnny Dwinell, loves this dish. And I promised that I would show him how to make it. So, Johnny, this show is for you. Johnny used to work with me at the Cafe Calamari restaurant, which we opened, the Anagnos family, years ago. Poured the oil out into my oil pan. Shallots, fresh shallots, and you really can't substitute onions on this. You need to use shallots. A little bit of garlic. We're going to get that going. We just want to get that to start being fragrant. That's been about 30 seconds. And, you know, like I told you, it's very similar to this chicken piccata dish because it uses shallots and garlic and white wine and lemon and veal glass. But one of the big differences is it doesn't use capers. Let's do the lemon juice first. I don't want to put the parsley in or the herbs until the end because those nice bright green herbs will yellow and get dull, and we don't want that. So, fresh lemon juice, we're looking at least an ounce. So the difference between the Francese, besides the chicken being egg battered with cheese, is the piccata has capers, the Francese has basil. The piccata is just dredged in flour. The Francese is breaded with a flour and then an egg cheese mixture. So everything is the same about the sauce as it is with the piccata, with the only difference being we're going to use basil instead of capers. But everything else is the same. So I got lemon, I've got the white wine, I got the shallots, the garlic, the veal glass, and now we're going to let this reduce. And I'm going to get this to my middle burner because that's just a little bit stronger. And I'm going to get the potato Alfredo just backed off here a little bit. And I'm going to keep my Francese right there. And while we're waiting for that to reduce, I'm going to show you how to do your basil. So we pick the basil off the stems. And this is another place where you can't replace fresh basil in this recipe with dry basil. I wouldn't even make this dish with dry basil. It's one of those dishes you have to have fresh basil for this one to get the flavor. I stack up my leaves and I do a chiffonade cut, which is a very thin cut. And anytime you cut herbs, any of them, you don't want to do this. You don't want to bruise them. You want to cut them once or twice. I'm going the other way, and that's it. If you do this, you bruise them, they'll turn black, and you burn it up. You burn up all that flavor. Okay, this is boiling really nice now. But again, we want to wait until that gets to a syrupy consistency because we're making butter sauce. And if we add it too soon, it's not going to get thick and velvety and creamy. It's going to be watery, and the butter is going to separate. So we don't want that. I'm going to take a little bit of my chopped parsley though and hit that on my potatoes Alfredo. Okay, looking good here on this sauce. We're almost there and we're almost done. We're very close. I'm going to pull my other stick of unsalted butter. By the way, I apologize that I didn't mention that earlier, but we never use salted butter in the restaurant, ever. It was always unsalted. Unsalted butter is a higher quality cream because they can't hide it with yellow food coloring or salt. So unsalted butter for any serious cook or chef. You know, chefs use unsalted butter. It's just a better quality butter. You know, you get better results with it. Okay, so the bubbles on this are starting to get thick. It's starting to reduce nice. I'm now going to add the basil, parsley, and my butter. And because the sauce was close, but not quite close enough, I'm not moving it around just yet. I haven't seasoned this yet, so I'm going to hit this with a little salt. I always use kosher salt. I had some pepper left from the last grind. You know, about a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. You can always add more. We're going to slice, you know, while we're waiting. You know, when you're waiting for something to cook, you always have something else to do. You know, if I didn't have the camera running, I'd be washing my dishes right now. Composting, if you have the ability to do it, it is really a good thing to do. Okay, you can see our sauce is starting to get thick. The ice cold butter is making that into a nice, beautiful butter sauce. If you were sauteing a piece of fish, piece of halibut, piece of sole, you would do the piccata method. You would flour the fish, or you could do the egg and cheese method. Fillets of, you know, thin fillets of scrod or sole. And you could do the same recipe with fish. Okay, the butter is almost melted. I'm going to turn the heat off. I want to check it for seasoning. I mean, you always do that before you put it on top of the food. It didn't matter how many times I made a piccata in my lifetime, I tasted each one before it went out. That was, you know, that's part of the chef's responsibility is when you're going to send something out the door, it better taste good. So I have the Francese sauce done, which is a lemon butter sauce with fresh basil. Oh. Johnny, that one's for you. Now you know how to make it. We've got chicken Francese, which is a egg and cheese crusted chicken breast made with a lemon basil sauce. We've got chicken piccata, which has just been floured and sauteed with a nice lemon butter sauce with capers and parsley. They both have veal glace, which gives them a nice next level of flavor, and it just kind of ties the whole thing together. And then we have our beautiful potato, fennel, and spinach Alfredo. And whenever one of the employees would order either one of these dishes at the restaurant, they always wanted a side order of pasta Alfredo with it because the creamy and the lemony just went perfect together. So that's why I did the potatoes Alfredo for this one. So I hope you give one of these or all three of these dishes a try. Again, You'll be able to get the detailed recipes on medusakitchen.com. That website is still in construction, but once that's up and running, everything that I do on YouTube, you'll be able to go there and get the recipes, and hopefully I'll have my cookbook out sometime in December, and we'll have a store of all the Medusa memorabilia and so forth available to purchase. So thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you on the next episode of Medusa's Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Greg. Thank you so much. Ciao. Potato, fennel, and spinach Alfredo. Chicken Francese. Chicken Piccata. All three easy dishes, very popular at the restaurants that I was at chef at. And now you know how to make them. You can get the exact detail recipes when my website comes out at medusakitchen.com. Until then, send a comment if you have a question. I'd be more than happy to answer. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.